Good morning, everyone. Just checking to see that we have enough connectivity.
Good morning. I can hear you, Deanna.
This is Larry. I can hear you. I don't see my video up there, but I'm here and I can hear your voice.
Thank you. And people at the office, because I can't hear anything from the office. Okay, meeting will start in a moment. Thank you.
Well, we don't. Okay.
Okay, we're all here. If the rest of the committee that is
Recording in progress.
attending by Zoom will agree to not have a chair of this committee any longer. The vice chair is not able to attend. And so if you're amenable, I am proposing to be the interim chair for this meeting. Is that amenable to everybody? Do I need a motion for that?
Is that Tita speaking?
This is Tita speaking, yes.
Hi, Tita. I would be okay with that, as long as we have a quorum.
We do have a quorum. We have Renee, Larry, Deanna, and myself. That's 4 people. So we do have a quorum. Oh, is that everybody? Okay.
It would be 5 with you, right? Renee, Larry. Oh, no, Larry Miller has 2. Okay.
Larry, Renee, Deanna, and Tita. So we have a quorum. 4 of the 7. Is it amenable to Renee, Larry, and Deanna that I be the interim chair for the meeting today?
It is with me.
Thumbs up from Larry. Renee? Is that okay with you?
It's okay with me. This is Diana.
Renee, I'm not seeing any reaction from you. Can you raise your hand or thumbs up if this is okay?
Are you still, this is Larry. Are you still there?
Yeah, Larry, I believe you need to mute yourself so we don't have that.
I don't know where that come from. That's strange noise.
Are you speaking at the office? Because I can't hear you.
You don't hear me, Larry? Wow, it's really crazy noise.
So Larry, it seems that you have, did you call on the phone or do you have two computers logged in? There's two
No,
names.
I only have one computer and it's working and it shows up again. Is that me making that noise?
I think so.
Oh, no.
There, it's gone.
Yeah, and so am I guess. I don't need the video, but I can hear you.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Okay. I'm here, so I don't see the video, but that's okay.
And Renee, can you hear us? Yeah, we can't hear you. And I can't hear Tita. I believe Tita is speaking and I can't hear you either. Yeah.
I can't hear her either.
He's talking, Renee's talking, but we can't hear her.
And now we can hear Tita. That's good.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
This is Larry. I can hear you.
Larry can hear me. Okay, so the person who cannot communicate either way seems to be Renee. And I need her ability to communicate in order to consider her present.
Yeah, can we ask her to call in, Jason?
If you would like me to, I can do that, yeah, via chat, but I'm not sure she'll do. So,
Okay, very
I'll text her again. Okay.
Deanna saying she can't hear anybody now. Can you hear us, Deanna?
Yes, I can't hear Renee, but I can hear the office and Larry when Larry speaks.
Okay,
And I'm here.
Mhm.
we need that camera to be turned a little bit more this way. People are really noticing more an empty table than anything else. That's good. That's very good.
it's showing that that Renee does not have audio connected. And right now it's showing obviously that her video is turned off on her end. I have, and I will do this, I will ask to start video. So I can't force her to start video, but I've asked her to do so in chat and in that.
Yeah, but we just want her to dial in now.
Yeah, you're right, yeah, so.
Mary, is she responding to you?
Did you call her? Did you call her?
I don't have her phone number. You can text her. I did text her twice. Yeah, well, that's, you're texting to a phone number.
Sometimes you text with email address too.
Really?
Yeah, depends on how it's set up with the phone.
Don't have.
I'm sorry for the glitch, folks. We're working hard to replace the part of this system which constantly present us with technical challenges. We're not quite there yet.
Now I'm doubly glad that I came in person. Oh, really?
Excuse me.
No, that's good, that's good. So Kelly, were you involved at all in putting together the SIP stuff? Is it?
I'm noticing that on the notice that was posted on the website for this meeting, the notice, PDF, and the meeting packet, neither of those have the numbers where people can call in. It only has the Zoom meeting ID and the link, but it doesn't have the phone number. So in the
Okay.
future, yeah, let's include that in
You
case
have
this
Renee on the
happens.
phone now. So Renee is called in, correct? All right, can you hear us okay?
I sure can.
Okay, sorry on that, Renee, and I will make a special effort to make sure I remember that I have to pay attention to Mary's phone. For you. So, okay, so we did the roll call. And we have a quorum, 4 people here. Changes to the agenda. I believe we do have a change.
In the handout,
Yes,
yeah.
We did not do the Pledge of Allegiance, though.
yes, we did. Yes,
We
we've
did?
done it.
Oh, okay.
We did. We've done the Pledge of Allegiance with roll call and no, it's just. Okay, so a new handout replacing the 24-25 stiff worksheet has been emailed. Has it been posted on the website? No. Okay, so for anybody who's not on the committee, they're not able to see it. Okay, public. So if we could post that on the website, please. I'll do that. Okay, so that's coming for those of you who are viewing from that perspective. Okay, but let's go ahead and take public comment. 3-minute limit on public comment. Is there anyone from the public who would like to make comments? If so, raise your hand. Jason, do you see anybody?
No.
Okay. No public comment. All right, approval of the January 2023 meeting minutes. So, do I have a motion for approval of the meeting minutes from January 9th, 2023?
This is Larry. I'll make a motion that the minutes as presented are approved, be approved.
Okay, Larry has made the motion. Renee, are
I'll
you
second.
Okay, I'm gonna take Renee as the second. Any comments? All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, so that motion has passed. We've approved the minutes. The new business, approval of the updated statewide transportation improvement or STIP funds. Now, And then we've got the January 2023 previously approved STIF fund. Shouldn't that be in a reverse order?
Yeah, I'm not sure why Mary has the January stiff fund on.
That's not new business, that's old business.
Yeah, we're really not going to address it unless there's some questions.
Because it's only for comparison.
But if you'd like me to
I would,
go ahead and
yes, please.
talk about this. Much has happened since the committee met on the STIF plan in January. The district has suffered a financial setback. We had temporarily suspended service at the end of April. Within 2 weeks, we had stood up some paratransit service and a fixed route on limited funds available, primarily through the vehicle of a loan that was made to the district by the Oregon Transportation Infrastructure Bank. We did borrow against a $1 million line of credit. That loan has sustained us, our operations thus far since the suspension. Other funds that were supposed to be forthcoming from ODOT have been withheld from the district pending the outcome of a forensic audit, which is ongoing at this point. A forensic audit to determine what was the cause of us running out of cash in April. As a part of the process to get us back on firm financial footing, ODOT has helped us to redraft our STIF plan that you had approved in January. The dollars are the same as they were in January. The difference is that the projects have been restructured with the intent of helping us be able to meet our financial responsibilities with more certainty. The projects on the newly drafted STIF plan are primarily to provide match funds for our 5310, 5311 federal grants to help us fund operations as we get back up on our feet. These projects will also cover some of our administrative costs. Will give us some funding to do a little research on replacing our financial system. And last but not least, the last project on the STIF plan is the service of the debt that we incurred when we took out the line of credit from OTIP. ODOT will be taking the payments right out of our STIF funds before we even get the STIF funds. So those payments will be made as a matter of process. The sheet that was in the packet and the one that we just distributed with updated numbers again shows the same dollars that you dealt with in January, but now these projects are simplified. There's only 5 projects. They're all aimed at financially supporting our efforts to restore service at the district.
Okay. So at this time, I'll take questions. Deanna.
Thank you. First, I was wondering if it would be possible to share screen with the new numbers so that we can all be looking at the same information, including the people on this call.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
Can you do that, Jason?
we'll do that right now. This is the one
Thank
that
you.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. So my first question was, I understand that we met in January and whatever it was discussed doesn't really apply anymore because of everything that's gone down in the past few months. However, I'm just wondering about the previous, in the past few years, we had been working on different projects with for STIF and what happens to those previous projects? Like do we need to write something for ODOT? Did we just not do them and then that's fine, and now we're using the funds for something else? Like, how do we reconcile those plans or those projects that were supposed to be funded that didn't get funded or didn't get finished?
Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I don't think they're the same.
If you're not the same projects,
I think that she's talking about 21, 23, right?
is that what she's talking about?
Correct. Correct. Yeah, like the previous ones that were ongoing projects that were supposed to continue getting funded by STIF, and they no longer are. So do we just start from square one with ODOT and propose something new?
In our current environment, ODOT has recommended or directed that we maintain service at the level that we're providing it right now for a year.
Okay.
The projects that were funded in the last biennium are gone.
Okay.
The funds that we had budgeted for those projects in our STIF plan are gone. And that's what led us to the problem in April. The funds that we had budgeted, that we had set up projects to do, those funds were paid to us over 6 quarters of the biennium, and then they were exhausted. We met our plan max. There was no more money coming. There was no money in our checking account. That money that we had for those projects had apparently been spent on operations. That's what's precipitated this forensic audit to determine how that happened. But for all practical purposes at this point, those projects from last biennium are off our radar. Some of them had to do with extra loops of service on the 101 or on the 15 or on the weekend, and we're not running those routes now. We're not running those loops now. The funds for those projects are gone. So we submitted our final STIF progress report this week, and it indicates that those projects are no longer viable projects for us, and that the funding was spent on operations. So
Right.
it's an unfortunate situation, but what's past is past. In this biennium, we're just trying to get our financial house in order. If we reach a point where we can add service, we will do that. But I wouldn't look for any of those other projects pretty much until the next biennium.
So if I can try to add a little bit more explanation to that helps me see this more clearly. The approvals that were done at the January meeting were for fiscal year 24 and 25, and those projects were for the time period after July 1st of this year. So what I am seeing this is doing is taking what was decided in January of 2023 that would happen as of July 2023, and is saying, no, that's not the plan anymore. And there's some things on there, but we created a new plan. Some of the things that were discussed in January are on the new plan, but some of them are not. And so it isn't, for this was all prospective, so those funds hadn't even been received or touched for FY 24, 25.
You're right. I may have.
No, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. So does that help explain it a little more, Deanna?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I just wanted to kind of make it clear that it's okay. We're starting fresh, and this is what we're starting with. And the other ones, like that we won't be held accountable, that like we're just, okay, that's done. we're proposing something new and starting from scratch.
Yes, and that's where, for myself, I was trying to do a correlation between the January worksheet and the today worksheet. They don't really correlate. The only thing that correlates is the total amount of money that is going to be received during that biennium from STIP funds, which is $2,102,862. That's the only thing that really correlates. We're just deciding to use it differently. Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So I'm not gonna look at January anymore. I'm gonna look at the sheet that we were given. Any other questions before I ask any questions? Okay, Renee?
Yes, I have no question. I was kind of following what you were saying about the funds, you know, where resulted, it was a definite like iron curtain and then regroup. So I think you clarified that.
Okay, wonderful, I'm glad. Okay, so I think the best thing to do is to go down this list, and if you will fully explain for us what each one of these projects is. And then so we can understand it.
We'll do that.
So project one is the match for 5310. So that is a grant, an FTA grant that we receive, and we have a match percentage on that for our preventative maintenance and our mobility management, and it also funds fixed route service. So we plan to spend $18,495-ish to match for 5310.
And what will that be paying for?
It's our mobility management and preventative maintenance and fixed route service.
Okay, drill down for me, please, what that means it'll pay for. When we say
Salaries.
mobility, okay,
So it'll do personnel services and materials and services.
okay, so salaries, and when you say preventive maintenance, that's
Bus maintenance.
bus maintenance, is that parts, labor, salaries, what is that?
All of the above.
Okay. And you have that in the amount of $18,495.
Yes.
And Tina, just to clarify, for my own self, that's just the match fund.
Right,
5310 grant is a separate grant.
exactly.
So this will.
How much do we have to match? 50%, 30%?
It's about 10% with 5310.
Okay, so it's a 10% match. Okay,
And that's for each year.
yes, they have it for each year. Any questions on that? Deanna, Larry?
Nope.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Project two is the match for 5311 funds, which is operations, preventative maintenance, administration for routes that have been reinstated. So that the 5311 has almost a 50% match, which is why that one is so much more, and that grant is a larger grant as well. So
I
it's
do have
personnel services and materials and services.
I do have a question. So these numbers, I actually did not add them up to see, are these for 100% or 120%? The ones that are on the, like that 437 and 94, is that 100% or 120%?
120%.
120% of what?
So the plan total, we plan for 120%, because if we only plan for 100% and they collect 120%, we aren't paid out that additional.
That's right, I remember hearing that before.
But then if we are calculated for 120, what if we get less than that? Wouldn't we be making numbers on money that we might not get?
We budget for 100%. And we plan for 120%.
Okay, in the future, could we please have both numbers, the 100% and the 120%, just in case?
Yeah.
Can calculate that.
We can, so down on the bottom, we just did the totals at 100% and 120%.
Oh, yeah, it is down there.
It's down at the bottom, it's just not broken out.
Well, yeah, well, it's the total, but not for each of the projects, how much it would be if it's only 100%.
And we can definitely do that in the future.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a very good idea. Okay, so this is basically the same area of project 1, but it's from a different funding, it's to match a different funding source, 5311 instead of 5310.
Yes.
Okay.
And then operations is just to help our operations be able to continue.
And what do we mean by operations? People?
It's yeah, personnel services and what else falls in operations?
Well, it's the cost of the bus drivers, cost of the buses, maintain the buses. Insurance is in there.
Insurance is in there.
Basically, all of the expenses for us to operate daily,
Okay.
except for having administration.
Yeah, because administration has its own.
And was this amount of money consistent with what is in the budget that we approved?
Yes.
Okay.
The budget,
And
I'm sorry, Diana.
yeah, I'm sorry. How come it's only for fiscal year 2024 and not 2025?
The expectation is that at the end of that first year of the biennium, that we should be on solid enough footing that we don't need this subsidizing from ODOT.
Got it. Thank you.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other questions on the operations figure? Okay, so let's go to the administration figure, which is the same amount.
Same amount. Takes care, helps with our administrative costs and also all that it will entail in finding new software.
Which this isn't to pay for the software.
It's to help, how to pay for the software, it's to help to do any research and bring in anybody else to be able to help.
You know, I think the plan for this project is to plan for the system. I don't think it's the procurement of the system.
It seems to me $286,000 is a lot of money to plan for a system.
It's administrative costs and planning for the finance.
And what does administrative costs mean?
Personnel services,
Be Mary, the finance officer, be the director. And associated costs for those personnel to do their jobs.
Okay, and of course, it's not in the FY25 because for the same reason, you won't need the subsidization by then. Okay, questions?
One point, is there a plan in case we did need to go after 24 into 25? We're just gonna kind of set for, you know, something in mind. Is there any funds just in case of they were planning that would be like broken off, so it would be like subsidized, but kind of a floater time frame. I don't know if it would be interest rate or, you know, moving forward after the year it sounds like we're kind of going up towards another iron curtain. In case of a year goes fast, I mean, there's a little overflow time.
In a normal situation, we wouldn't have these particular subsidies from ODOT. We would still have the same activities, same expenses, but they would be funded by local funds and other funding to the district. So in the second year of this biennium, we would expect that what ODOT is covering in our match money for the first year, we would be covering for the second year out of normally occurring funding that we've enjoyed for all the years that we've been a district before this particular circumstance hit us.
It depends on residents to get in with ODOT and have a continual interest rate or whatever we're calling it. But if that's eliminated, then I see what you're saying.
Okay. So I'm curious about something. All four of these so far, they mix operations and personnel. Do you have a percentage that will go towards personnel versus the percentage that will go towards operations, preventive maintenance, etc.? So it's kind of hard costs versus soft costs.
I don't have that.
It depends on what expenses are accrued during the period. This money, this 5311 is earmarked for operations. We can use that for anything that happens in operations. Within operations, maybe we have 1 month that's heavy on repairs, maybe we have 1 month that's heavy on overtime, but as long as we're using it for the accounts it's destined for, we can move it to reflect the current trends.
And then the other question, because this is a biennial type of resource, if we don't use all the money that we say we're going to use in FY24, it rolls over into FY25. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So any other questions on the administration portion?
I do have a question. So from what you just asked, Tita, saying that if there's any money that isn't used on that first year and it will roll over onto the next, what if there were more money needed on that first year? Like, is that a limit that would be for that first year and nothing else can be used? Or if there's more needed, can you borrow from the following year, the 2025, and use it in 2024?
Yeah, because I don't really, it's.
This has been a big revelation for Kelly and I to learn how the STIF funding works. In the first place, the money that's collected in our county for STIF is for SET. If we reach our planned maximum before we've used all the money that's available, that money is available to us in the next biennium. If we have money left from 24, it's available in 25. At the end of 25, anything that's left, we can use in the next biennium. So it's our money. We don't lose that. The thing that's been perplexing and maybe has contributed to the financial problem is that we get this money as it's collected. So in our case, we got our whole year's money in the whole biennium money for the 21-23 period. We got that by October of 22. We ran out of money because we had spent it on operations. We're going to get this money the same way. We're going to get it as it's collected. what we learned and the internal control that we put in place now, or that Kelly's put in place, is that that money is going into a separate account at the bank. So, for example, in July, we were supposed to have gotten our first quarter payment. We'll get that in August, hopefully, and that's close to $700,000.
Right.
That's going into the STIF bank account. We're not going to spend it in July and August and September. We're going to say we need to spend only this much each quarter over 8 quarters, so we have money left in the last quarters. So it's not as though we do a project and get reimbursed for it. This money comes
Got it.
to manage our cash flow. And that's what's new at the district.
Exactly. Yes, I understand.
Beautifully explained. Thank you.
Reserve funding is what it, you only use it for certain things. Okay, good deal. Questions, any more questions on that? Okay, so let's go to the last row there, the OTIB debt service.
So the final one is payment of our loan from ODOT. When we get quarterly payments for our STIF funding, ODOT will just take the payment right off the top. So we essentially never see that, and it'll just pay towards our loan. We opted to pay that loan in 4 years. And so they've amortized it out so that we pay quarterly.
So STIF funds will help pay back the ODOT loan.
Yes, that was the agreement. And we
Yes, I remember that from budget committee. Okay, questions, anybody on that? Okay, I want to go to the column that says recommended project number. If the other members of the committee would help me remember, it seemed to me that I recall that as we had the different projects, we prioritized them. And that's what the project number was supposed to reflect, was a prioritization. Does anybody remember differently?
Nope, that's it.
So I would like for us to look at this recommended project number list and see what we want, how do we want to prioritize these? And I'm gonna put forth that I think the last one, the OTIB debt service, needs to be prioritized as number 1, because we're not gonna see those monies coming in the door anyway. They're gonna be going out as soon as they come in, and that's the priority. We've got to repay the loan. Does everybody agree with me, or anybody have a different thought?
I agree.
Okay, so let's change that number 5 to number 1.
If I might, the plan is already drafted with these project numbers, but we can certainly assign a priority to projects if you like.
Okay, let's assign the priority.
Okay,
Yes.
that works for both of us.
Okay, so that's gonna be left as number 5, but you're gonna add a new column for priority. I kind of thought in my head that the next priority might be getting the financial software, but I don't know how other people feel about that.
I mean, the software has created a lot of issues for our financing, but I think that the priority right now is to keep the limited service that we have running smoothly with hi, my English is not good this morning.
No, you're
With
doing
no
good.
other suspensions. So we don't have to suspend service or, leave our riders stranded anymore. So I would say that as important as the software is, maybe not a priority with the STIF funding.
Okay,
I
But
forget, Kelly and Paul, would we be able to apply to a separate grant for that, for software, or to update our software, financial software?
Can I ask
Automate.
a question?
Available.
Isn't this a planning purpose and not necessarily the purchase of software?
Larry, we can't hear you. Could you
Okay.
turn? it
No, I just asked a question. I said, this is a planning schedule, not for the purpose of actually buying the software, but planning to see if the software is necessary for our operation.
That's true.
Okay, okay.
And it's a substantial amount. That's why I'm kind of
Right.
like, maybe shouldn't be high up on the priorities.
Okay. So what would you think would be number 2 then? Possibly the match for 5311?
Probably, yeah, 5311. And then please remind me, you already mentioned this on project number 3, the one that says operations, this project will help fund reinstated routes after a brief halt of all services. So that would be used in 2024, not what we've done
Right.
so far. So yeah, probably that one third.
$5310 over $5311, Kelly? Or tell me
Those two because they, has like the disability and the elderly and that kind of.
oh, the mobility
the mobility
management.
management.
Okay, and how does that compare then to the line for operations?
Mobility management helps with the disabled and the elderly.
Right.
And that portion of it, operations helps with that as well, but mobility management teams more towards that. Am I right, Jason?
Okay, so what about the 5310 being number 2 and operations being number 3? How does that sound to you all?
That makes sense to me, Larry.
It makes sense to me as well.
Okay. So operations will be number 3. And then number 4, you want to do that as the 5311
Yes,
reinstated. And then that puts the software as number 5.
yep.
Okay, so let me reiterate what priorities we put. Priority number 1 is paying debt service. Priority number 2 is the match for 5310. Priority number 3 is for operations. 4 is the match for 5311. And 5 is administration for the financial software. Is that agreeable to everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Yes.
We've worked through this a lot faster than I thought we were going to. This is wonderful. All right, so at this point then, I need a motion to recommend the use of the STIF funds by project as reflected in the worksheet to recommend adoption by the board.
So I would like to move to approve the projects listed in the 2024-2025 STIF worksheet. And
Can I interrupt you? I don't believe we approve, we only recommend.
to recommend it for approval of the board, and also with the addition of the priority, like the list of priorities for each project as discussed.
And this is Larry. I can agree with that and second that.
Okay. I have a motion by Deanna, second by Larry. Any discussion? Further questions? All right, all those in favor, I want to do a roll call on this, please.
Larry,
Aye.
Tina,
Yes.
Renee,
I,
and Deanna.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, motion passed unanimously, and we will send this on to the board for their action. Okay. Anybody have any comments for the good of the order before we adjourn?
Yeah, I'd like to say something, being an administrator myself. I think all the people that put all the effort in this has done one heck of a job. And the fact that we prioritize these is a substantial move. And I think you all have done a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Yep.
Anyone else?
I would, Tina, if I could, just in the interest of transparency. Of course, PTAC has already looked at the plan that this committee recommended in January, and they've given us a conditional approval on a part of the funding, and that's why we're looking forward to getting a payment for the first quarter. This has to now go from you to our board, back to PTAC, back to OTC. PTAC recommends OTC before it gets back to ODOT to fund. Just so you know, there's some concern on ODOT's part whether they will release any funding until after the audit is complete.
Yeah.
Have to be huge, very difficult to project when that will be done.
Yeah.
So there may be some risk going into the second quarter as to whether or not, even if our plan is approved, that we'll get that funding if the audit is not complete. But that's what's ahead for this plan that you addressed.
It kind of makes me feel that ODOT gives with one hand and takes with the other. Yes.
I'm wondering, Paul, if that was the case, after we get the findings from the forensic audit, then if there are any changes on ODOT's willingness to, give us the funding, then we would have to meet again. The Transportation Advisory Committee would have to meet again to change this.
No, if they don't give us the funding, I don't think there'll be a transportation advisory. If they hold up very much, we don't get by the middle of September. I'm not sure what ongoing operations would look like.
Got it. So then the committee would be just notified, kind of just keep everybody in the loop and just keep communications as updated as we can. That would be my only recommendation. But thank you so much for what the whole staff is doing, and also for the people in the committee being so gracious.
I'm glad we could get a quorum together this quickly in the middle of the summer. So,
And just for context here, if you hadn't approved this, and if it didn't get to the board next week, it wouldn't make it to OTC's meeting in September, and they don't meet again until November.
Jesus.
The steps are happening in enough time to make this work.
yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The forethought and looking at the calendar is very important.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, okay, I'm going to use my temporary gavel and adjourn this meeting at 10:57.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.